I think you made Craig mad, Jess. I think you made him mad when you called him what you called him. That wasn't nice.
It's upset.
Harsh.
So we are three Monday Night Raws away from WrestleMania. We're almost there. Biggest show of the year. And
21 days on the countdown.
0 Hall of Fame inductees announced. That's weird.
That is
I don't know.
weird.
Like,
And there's something to take.
I'm not sure what you negotiate with Hall of Famers, but why would you not have Batista there? And then Sid was another name. And I don't know what other names there have been, but you have to line up 5 or 6. So
Well,
do they not have them?
one Craig
It's
has movie dates and
strange.
one guy has softball dates. You got to work around it. I'm sorry.
I'd laugh so hard if Sid was still playing softball.
Yeah,
I bet he is.
cranking him out.
Well, Batista, especially with Galaxy 3 coming out relatively soon, right?
Yeah, they're gonna have they have to have a massive tour on that for sure.
Yeah, so I don't know why they wouldn't put him in the Hall of Fame and kind of start that or whatever. And
Maybe that's it. Maybe he can't even commit to that one night or 2 nights.
He probably cannot. I would think.
When does Galaxy 3 come out?
I want to say summer, but I'm wrong.
So he could be right in the
No,
middle of
I
filming,
think you're right on it. I think you're right on it. It's in the edit room, but you got to go back for edit work too. You know, I mean, because I know a little bit about the movies. I don't know anything, but when they're in editing, a lot of times you have to go back and do edit work, at least for audio and stuff like that. So,
because it would have been announced
May 5th
way before had it was like an
May.
email.
Yeah, I thought it was May.
Which I mean, WrestleMania is April 1st and 2nd, so
It's
legitimately
really
a month away.
Yeah, that's tight. That's tight. If they're doing anything last minute,
Like
Thanks,
typically it
Stace.
could sometimes they open in Europe weeks before, so it's ready and they've already got these PR guys on like fucking schedules.
you're doing
Or-
press
yeah,
junkets all over the world for it too. So that's just happening,
Yeah.
weeks in advance. So like go see it on May 15th, and they're gonna be on all the late shows and everything.
What other names have you guys heard besides Batista and or
all
Sid?
Rumors, I've heard Sid, Michelle McCool.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Stop it.
What are you so mad about?
Let's see. Let me see. I'm gonna pull up just some shit here.
The rumors. Well, here's while you're pulling that up. I mean, you just talk about it. The other weird thing is that we don't like is that they're actually having it right after SmackDown, so it doesn't really. It feels like they're not even emphasizing it like they used to. Like, did you run out of names? Did you run out of people to put in there?
I heard
your
that.
mind?
Like if they ran out of name, which is interesting. You know what? I heard a very funny tweet, and it really made me think. I was like, and it was a still shot and a photo. And it said Ahmed Johnson, Hall of Fame worthy? Question mark. I was like, no fucking way.
Well, but the answer is yes. It's the I hate to say it, it's the Coco Beware.
Would you put
chasm.
Ahmed Johnson in the Hall of Fame, Dave?
If you're putting Coco in, you're putting Ahmed in. I mean,
I would be offended if
you, David.
Are you serious right now? Like, come on.
You're saying Ahmed Johnson is the same level as Coco Beware?
No,
higher.
Coco.
Unless he's a bird, he could fly.
Let's be real. Coco was a way better wrestler. Held his own in the territories. Ahmed was completely built by the machine and not nearly as talented, but they're both mid-carders is what I'm saying.
Oh.
And it's just, again,
No, I get.
I'm only saying that. So
I understand.
And then look at other people in the Hall of Fame. Like,
I understand.
come on, man.
I mean, Drew Carey's in there. Fuck Ahmed Johnson, throw him in. Jess, Ahmed Johnson, you in this year?
I mean, why not?
Not this year.
Not this year. He's got to wait a year. He's got to wait a year.
According from the Wrestling Observer, WWE has yet to have backstage discussions regarding the 2023 Hall of Fame. As of this writing, the company hasn't made any announcements, despite the ceremony currently being scheduled for March 31st at the Crypto Center after SmackDown. However, names such as Batista, Jazz have been pushing to be inductees this year.
Oh, Jazz would be good.
Mickie James has also stated that she wants Victoria to go in. And let's see. All good names. I mean, they may not have a massive headliner, but do you need one? Or how about this? Instead of inducting 25 people every year like they've done for a time, how about make the ceremony a goddamn hour and then do like one men's wrestler, one tag team, and one women's wrestler, and maybe one celebrity. 4. And then just fucking each speech is 10 minutes. That's a long time, 10 minutes to get there and babble on about. And we were in the. I mean, some speeches are awesome and they're good, and I wish they would go on forever. But others, I'm like, okay, like just get them
Well,
going.
here's the other thing we were talking about before we came online. The fact that you're having it after SmackDown, my first question is when does the beer line stop? Because that's a good 3 hours of drinking, and then the Hall of Fame starts, and you wonder why there was a run-in on Bret Hart a few years back.
Even on a good day when it's just the
you're
Hall
asking
of
for trouble,
Fame,
man. You're asking for trouble.
like it's boring and like people have trouble, like so people that aren't respectful of the overall Hall of Fame, and you're just there for SmackDown, and you get a bonus of this. How are they going to sit through Jazz? And
I mean, and to I'll even devil advocate the other way, right? The hard part about the whole thing is you can't have it on Saturday anymore because WrestleMania is now legitimately 2 nights.
And that fucked it up. I think I really do believe that the 2-day Mania, which I prefer.
It's great.
To be honest, I don't know why we've never thought of it before. Like, but 2 days of Mania is perfect. So the one show doesn't have to be 8
and when you require all the superstars to be at the Hall of Fame, they can't be there on Saturday morning because they're all prepping for Saturday. You know, like they're prepping for WrestleMania, so they can't even when they have it on Saturdays in the past. Wrestlers would dive out early because, like, dude, I got to get some sleep. I got to be ready for my match. I got to, that was tough.
And they've already bungled. NXT used to be firmly on Saturday night before they did 2 days. Now they make NXT
Saturday morning.
NXT's 10 in the morning on Saturday. Fucking weird. Like, it's just really weird.
We'll be lucky to make that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we're gonna make that, but we'll be lucky to make that. That's what I'd say. I don't know. I mean, maybe everything we're saying is the struggle they're actually having. They're like, how do we do this? How do we make it make sense on Friday night? How do we make it so it's not till 1 in the flipping morning, after SmackDown is over? How do we make all of that work? So they're kind of just keeping it tight-lipped. They might have a set of people, and then they might trim it down, but they don't want to. The last thing you want to do is announce everything and then take people away, because the old saying, like, Vince would be like, if somebody does pull away for something you can't control, you better give them something better, right? That was kind of always his saying. You better give them something bigger than what was on that card, and you can't just take Hall of Famers away. So I don't know. Maybe they're legitimately struggling with it.
I hope they don't cut it out, right? I know it gets a lot of slack for not being a legit Hall of Fame or whatever, but I really like it.
I enjoy it. Yeah, it's part of WrestleMania week.
Don't stop it. I think you're right. I think they'll give us a big package. But
here's an idea. Can I give you an idea? Put it on a fucking Thursday or a Wednesday or something. Put it by itself.
Put it on its own.
People would go to it separate before, and they would sell it out in small venues.
Put it back in I don't know, like maybe a theater like stand-up comedians performing. And so you're not trying to sell, 10,000 tickets. You're just trying to sell 5 and it's all good, or a 3,000 seat venue. You don't have to fucking have the massive stages. I mean, they were impressive looking, but that's hard to maintain like all the time.
Yeah, that's what I think. I don't know.
I think if you don't have a big name to anchor it, I don't think it's worth doing. Then you maybe announce it as a little package during the thing, but it's not worth putting the camera crew together and spending $100,000 recording it and having the whole thing with it. So I think if you can't get Batista, it's going to be a hard sell.
That's a good point. What if they're trying to work it out where they have a special edition 3-hour SmackDown and they run Hall of Fame pieces in the middle of it?
No, they wouldn't do that on TV, but
I think anything now though is going to seem like less for some odd reason. Like I feel they standard for having it on a separate night.
But I could see them to keep it short. They got to keep it under TV time. They get the special 3-hour allotment and that extra hours to account for whatever Hall of Fame you get in there.
It's typically another 3 hours on Peacock that gets a lot of traffic that they can promote, and they do on a Saturday night, on a Saturday or Friday night. When was last year in Dallas? Friday night?
Friday. It was Friday. It was after SmackDown. Same thing.
So here's the question, and why? So maybe Craig, you're onto something, because maybe that's the only reason why you do it. You don't care about the venue, the tickets. You don't care about the TV time necessarily. All you're caring about is the network uptick. People getting their free month of WWE Network or Peacock, right, for that month. Sorry, to watch the Hall of Fame on that particular Friday, and that's all they're utilizing it for now. So that means that it does carry less nostalgia, and you're going to get less people. And by the way, if you're Batista, would you want to say yes to that? Probably not. We're talking about his schedule, but maybe he's like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I think I deserve more. If I'm going to do this, it should be something that's
I
completely
also
separate.
think of as commercialized as it's become and as big a production as it has become, like I feel bad for the talent. Like you don't think that like Coco Beware loved like being in front of all those people, even though the headliner was, I don't remember who the headliner was that year, but I mean like the underlings that never get a chance, like I think that's kind of amazing. They get to go and dress up and go out, bring their family, and when is Hillbilly Jim ever going to get to do that? And I'm not trying to be an ass at all. Nikolai Volkov was probably super proud. Like everybody knows the goddamn Iron Sheik was proud.
It's the pinnacle of what they've all done for fucking 30 years.
But
This
that's
is
what
why
I mean, to lessen it or to cram it like between matches on SmackDown or whatever, I think it's not fair to the talent. Like I think that Vince said himself, when he dressed up that stadium in Orlando, Florida, and put live palm trees at the top and shit like that because it was a dump, the Citrus Bowl. And
yeah,
Bruce and them were like, dude, we're gonna blow our budget. He's like, there is no budget. I don't care if we lose money on WrestleMania. Like the media that we get and the what we do for the city and all that stuff is way more valuable than that. So I don't feel that they care about the cost of it like at all. I don't. I just find it odd that they haven't announced anything yet, but they're selling tickets that advertise it. It's weird. I don't know why they would do that.
Well, it's easy to sell tickets to SmackDown. Oh, and by the way, special event, Hall of Fame at the end of the show, and that's all.
Yeah, it's very weird. And I don't feel it was a budget thing, because if it was a budget thing, they wouldn't have crammed
It's not,
Mania.
it's not a budget thing. It's
it's
a
a
timing
name thing. It's a PR thing. If they don't have
It's
a
a
name
PR
to
thing, and
connect the
it's
entire
a-
thing, then it's over. You can have
But
5
it's also
nobodies.
it's also the time frame, Craig. Too. The time frame doesn't work, and like to your point, because of the time frame, I think the PR thing's not working. Like again, I go back to it. If I was Batista and I'm like, yeah, you're going to be in the Hall of Fame and you're going to be the main guy. Okay, what are we doing? We're doing like Saturday? You're like, no, it'll be after SmackDown on Friday. He'd be like,
No, I think it'd be fine because the whole package for a Hall of Famer is the event, and then you get recognized Saturday, Sunday. So you got to commit the whole weekend, which I don't know if totally forgot all about that. If they're in the final stretch of Guardians of the Galaxy and you have to launch it worldwide, Europe first, and then probably Asia, and then all this shit, and the cast has to be together, and Chris Pratt, so he's got to spend 3 days away from the cast and like promoting the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's why they just can't commit to it, and maybe Sid's not big enough to anchor it. Like, yeah, they got a little, I don't know. It's weird, but with 3 weeks to go, they should have something. They've never ran it this close to the line before.
It's the weirdest thing I think we've seen, and in the road to WrestleMania in a long time. When you think about it, it's definitely off. I don't say it's off the mark, but it's off kilter. It's just the balance.
Yeah, they're scrambling. There's
I
like something.
Did for a while feel like the speed they were going, I was like, God damn! Like, I mean, I know there's been a lot of professional wrestlers, but you guys are burning through them like crazy. Like, there was like a 5-year span where I was like, anybody else you want to put in this year? Because you already put in 9. Like, so maybe they did fuck up.
Maybe Ahmed Johnson does need to fucking go.
Well, yeah, maybe. No offense. I know everyone puts their bodies on the line the same. I get it. I'm not trying to be an ass, but when you put Michelle McCool in and then you start parading her around like a Hall of Famer, I'm like, you guys need to slow down. Like, you're just you're going right to the top shelf liquor on that stuff. Like, you need to just calm down a little bit. Like, when you're really like, yeah, let's put Michelle McCool in or not. Like, I mean, it's just I don't know. Maybe they ran out of ideas a long time ago, and yeah, now they're fucked. Like Craig said, like we have Batista. He can at least help us for 1 year.
I've had other conversations. Are they going to start putting in active wrestlers? Because people are talking about Rey Mysterio. I'm like, but he's still actively wrestling. And they're like, well, WrestleMania will be a retirement match. I'm like, yeah, but it's too late. Like,
you know what? I'd be okay if you put Rey in. That's a very good point. God damn, that's tough. Yeah, if he's gonna wrestle his son on Sunday,
Edge was already in. They fucked that up. Like, why wouldn't you wait 5 years regardless to put Edge in? The year that he announced his retirement, they're like Hall of Fame, or like the next year, because he retired like shortly after WrestleMania 1 year, and then he got put in the next year. And I'm like,
well, the NFL has that. They have a waiting period just for that purpose. I mean, Tom Brady retired and came back.
And Eddie Guerrero, like they put him in the year after he passed, and I was like, calm down. Like, why don't you calm down?
I could have really waited.
Dude, Ray's right next to his hometown in San Diego too. That'd be fuck.
I would even argue that Angle got in too soon. Angle got in like immediately when he was done, pretty much. Like
if Batista falls through, Ray would be the go-to. If you're looking to get people to drive to Peacock For
for that. Yeah, Ray would be the guy. Yeah, makes sense. I mean,
up until the last decade, you don't have a big women's pool to draw from, so you got to wait a bit, before you put the Charlottes and the Beckys and the, Baileys and the Sasha Banks and all that stuff in. Like, you got to wait now, like, because
they're going to be wrestling forever, like for a long time.
Did you guys hear the spoiler alert for the women's thing? And I'll say spoiler alert. Turn on your radios for about 30 seconds. Trish, might turn heel in this whole like Trish and Lita versus Becky versus Damage Control, and Trish might do a program with Becky on the run up to SummerSlam.
Wow. That'd be cool.
That's some shitty account.
By the way, Lita looks like shit, and like not looks like her performance. Her performance.
Oh,
like
okay. I'm like, why are we talking about looks for? Like, why are we doing that?
I should have clarified that.
I did not see her wrestle.
It's very shitty, and I'm just like,
I'm going to give you an interesting take on that whole thing, because if I'm not mistaken, didn't she just win the women's tag title with
Becky? Just won the tag titles, and then it's going to be 6-man. It's going to be 6-man at Mania. Damage Control against Trish, Becky.
So it's a 6-man. So you're not even promoting the actual title at Mania. So
right. They put them on Raw, and they're not defending them.
So I tell my friends this all the time. I said this title is now trash. It's bullshit, and it's all Sasha's fault. It's all her fault. Like this thing could have been legit. She could have carried it, but she just threw it down and threw a tantrum and walked out. And ever since then, no one has given it the accolade that you think it may need or deserve. The women's tag title needs to disappear. It just needs to disappear.
It might have been trash before that, and that's why she left, because she was just, this is all you're going to give me.
And you know what? You're the second person that like wants to defend Sasha. One person actually says, "Don't you dare talk about Mercedes that way." I'm like, "What are you talking about? She's done this twice. She's done this shit twice. Like, just deal with it. It's better than nothing. You can't be the champion forever. Like, what are we doing here?"
There's one women's title. Well, there's two technically, but
sure.
I mean, you can't, not everybody can be champion. Like, look at how long Bailey's gone without it. She doesn't need it.
And she's doing great. Like, I laughed my ass off. I think I sent that to you guys where the Hulk Hogan lookalike was in the audience. She's like, Hulk Hogan look like an idiot, while she was getting her ass kicked. She just, Hulk Hogan look like an idiot, and then she walked away. And everybody was laughing. I'm like, Bailey is the best version of Bailey we've seen ever. She's great.
Do they think Sasha's the best or not? I'm like, how about we say Bailey might be one of the best ever? Like, why not? Like, she's been great. She's
doing a great job. And I hate to say it, Sasha didn't look too hot in Japan when she featured out there. She didn't come off too strong. So
yeah, she's just a language barrier, and it's a different world over there. We've only been trained on this in this entertainment company, and you go somewhere else where it's a little bit more hard hitting. It's jolting. It's hard. Like,
I understand that.
I'm impressed that she's doing it right. Like, I think Cody was a little bit more PC about all of it, but Cody needed it. Sasha might need it. She might come back in a year and be like,
I was gonna say, we might be having all good wrestlers go to Japan that talking about Mercedes soon, and I hope that's the case. But I do get a little irritated with that tag title now, and I don't care if she thought it wasn't legitimate enough for her to hold it. Like, just be professional, and she obviously was not.
It's kind of your job, and yeah, that was the second time she walked out. I think that a lot of other wrestlers are unhappy in their roles, and they just don't walk out because it's money, it's a paycheck, and you should just honor it. And then, if you get
did Zack Ryder walk out? He's like, "Hey, I'm still here.
Fucking Dolph Ziggler,
on the roster, ready to go. Dolph's still there. Yeah,
the Miz.
I just don't understand it. Like, if you're not happy, you should work your contract, and if they want to release you, or you work out a release and it's all cordial, then I get it. But you just threw your shit on the table and walked out. It's just.
By the way, I know it seems like he has a lot of time left, probably, but Miz is a goddamn Hall of Famer. I don't care what anybody says. Like, I'm like, he's like a Hall of Famer.
It's not even a question. Yep. He's still too active, I think, is all.
What about people like AJ Styles? When he's ready to hang it up, he'll go right in. So I think they have a lot of Hall of Famers right around the corner. Randy Orton. They have a lot of Hall of Famers around the corner. They just haven't.
I wonder, because there's all the rumors that Randy might not be able to wrestle anymore. I wonder if they were waiting on that to try to induct him right away. Like, there could be all sorts of
wait a few years for him. Let him be
They
special.
can come
Let
back.
him-
All these wrestlers are like leaving and coming back once their stuff fuses and gets healthy again, and their spine and their neck and stuff. So, yeah, I
They're
agree.
fine.
There should be a layover. There should be like a 3 to 5 year set before you put them in. But
I don't
It'll
know.
help
There's
space.
no layover in wrestling at all. So you might as well just do it while the strike while the iron's hot, as they say, because it doesn't matter. There's
do
no
less
real
of-
retirement.
Just do less members every year, so you're not saturating. You know what I mean? Like spending everybody.
um,
I can't even go. What about Dusty? Oh, that's right, he's in. And what about so and so? Fuck, he's in.
so here's another thing. Speaking of wrestling and why striking while the iron is hot, I read this and I can't remember who they're trying to work the contract out, but they're trying to work legitimate betting on wrestling
Who's gonna pick
So
that up? I'm glad you-
results. And I'm like, I disagree. I just
Dave
don't think that's
said, and I don't know if you believe him or not. Dave Meltzer answered a question on that, and again, take it for a grain of salt. He
Whatever.
said that basically the creative is not going to get the endings to the matches anymore. They're going to set the storylines and everything, and only like deemed officials are going to give the ending, and it could be Triple H, whoever they deem. But it's going to be under lock and key, and the finish is going to be submitted, and then the wrestlers will be told they'll be given different endings, and then they'll know what they are, and then
But
they're
there's
going to be
so many matches. And by the way, what happens when somebody gets hurt? And what if I don't know. I think it's way easier to tank something or change something and fake an injury. Like
Is anybody going with me on the over/under on Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy? No. Okay.
no, it's weird, right?
Mhm.
So I'll give you an example. Remember when Daniel Bryan had his mediocre rise and he was going up, but he hurt his arm in a match and he couldn't move it and he couldn't feel it, and they stopped it, and it was a legit injury at that moment, and he was pissed off. He was supposed to win that match. So what happens if he got hurt legitly? Does everybody get their money back? How does that work?
If
And
you're
what-
gonna do it like and treat it like a real sport, yeah.
That-
But they already
but-
do that on FanDuel, don't they? They already or some like they already allow bets on some
Yeah, I think they
platform.
bet on wrestling already. Like
So
on some,
how does this official WWE like in negotiations?
I think
work?
you're going to be able to go past remote betting. You're going to be able to do it in real places and things like that.
And your money goes to like it's WWE sanctioned money kind of thing. Like you're paying WWE for the right to gamble instead of FanDuel.
As an example, instead of FanDuel, like if you were in Vegas, you could bet on matches, like instead of actually just doing online. But that was my understanding of it. You could do it just about anywhere.
you know what the,
But
who's better fucking marks than wrestling fans? Like, you know how much money they would have made on people would have bet that Sammy's going to beat Roman on a B pay-per-view in February, and people would have bet on fucking Sammy over and over again. They would have lost all their goddamn money, and then people would be so mad, and I'd be like, why would you make that stupid bet anyway? Like, but those are the marks,
I think
right?
it's more than that. Like I think there's a lot of things that can go down with that. The people that are actually working out the results of this, I can see people almost like like the equivalent of inside trading, inside betting
How do
on
you
this
eliminate
stuff.
that though? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, right. Like
Like
the
it's
idea
not.
starts
It's just.
somewhere,
It's not a
and-
true. It's not a true sport in the realm of that. It's already predetermined. Somebody's going to leak it. Somebody is going to take advantage of it,
tweak it. Somebody will innocently tweak it.
and then
Who's to say that we find a scandal later where they pay a wrestler, Dave, to claim that they fucking don't feel feelings in their arms to get the bet thrown
that's
off?
what I'm saying. That's what I was
I'm
getting to.
fine.
Yes. Like you're actually going down in the fourth kind of thing. Remember the taking the dives like they do in real sports. And this guy's like, no. I think I dislocated my shoulder and I need to stop. And now I lost the match, but my build, I'll be good for tomorrow. My build's still good. And
Or-
everybody bet on that piece and bet on against the line and just won a ton of money.
Beyond that, what if a wrestler that is hurt and should tell the ref that he's hurt does not and dies in the ring? And then basically they're going to be like, he didn't fucking stop because there was money on the line. Like, maybe I'm not even grasping the whole concept of what it would be. But like, yeah, I'm just thinking like, that's way too stupid. Like to bet on.
I really don't. I don't like any of it. Craig, I don't know. What do you think, man? You're really quiet over there. How do you feel about it?
I haven't read the article, so I don't. They already do it, or they already did do it with FanDuel or one of the DraftKings or one of the partners that they did, which you could bet on it. So I'm not sure that the requirements that they would have, where if they're trying to do it worldwide, where you can have every casino and somehow have some legitimacy placed on whether you're betting on the thing and they can secure the safety of the result. It seems silly unless, and the only reason they would do it is that WWE was somehow getting some portion of the percentage of this.
It's not just that. It was what I thought. It's not just FanDuel and online. They're in talks with state gambling regulators to legalize betting on scripted match results, so they can actually work with state gambling regulations for scripted results.
It has to be some policy where, to Jess said earlier, or someone said it, you literally, there's only a certain amount of people that would know going into the thing, and
So-
they can't leak it. This is
horrible. You're right on it. Here you're right on the nose, Craig. Listen to this. WWE is held discussions with state gambling regulators to legalize betting on scripted match results. WWE is working with EI, commonly known as Ernst & Young, to secure match results so they won't leak to the public. Creative executives don't plan to inform wrestlers who will win until hours before the match. WWE aims to have major sports betting companies offer bets on high-profile matches. So they're supposedly not going to tell the wrestlers until hours before.
Your garage band stopped again, didn't it?
It did. Yeah, it did.
I'm sorry.
Well, let's use the Skype audio.
Yeah, that's fine.
Also, did you guys hear that not only was Vince McMahon backstage at Boston's Raw, but he had a fucking
A mustache.
I heard about that too.
People said it was like a villain, like drawn on mustache. I mean, it wasn't drawn on; it was an actual mustache, but it was like a thin villain mustache. I think it's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
And then someone, like, even the photo that someone used, it was a fake photo from like 10 years ago or something. Like,
Yeah.
Like,
That wasn't the
photo-
mustache that you saw.
mustache.
Yeah, it was one with him with a fake one on or something.
He shows up. Vince thinks everything through, right? Because he's a calculated person. So Vince calculated this. He's like, and it's gonna be a thin mustache, and I'm gonna make a point to have it on Boston Raw.
I feel like he's just testing the waters, though, right? He's kind of
a fucking mustache.
Are people
Who
are
gives
but
a
are people
fuck?
but are people gonna freak out that I'm there? Are they gonna lose their shit that I'm there? And he's trying to ink his way, just weasel his way back in, you know.
Oh, well, maybe I respect him for his age and him just going like, yeah, I'm going to show up and that's going to be everybody talking. And they're like, okay, great, Vince. And one more thing. And they're like, well, you showing up after you've been basically pushed out is, and then forced your way back in is going to be news enough. What? Mustache. No, I mean, I guess do whatever you want, but why does that have the thing? It'll be crazy. And they did. And everyone's going absolutely crazy. Not just because he was back there, but they're like, he has a goddamn mustache. So I kind of appreciate that, or whoever told him to do that is great. I think it's genius. For no reason. And cheap, absolutely nothing. It's just genius. Like, it's just like people are going to be
Just
so
trying to
weird.
get those hot chicks as a 77-year-old man.
Ew, bro.
I know you guys didn't see it, but Joe went to AEW Revolution live in San Francisco this year and had a blast. And I ended up caving because I saw that and I got jealous and I was like, I'm gonna fucking spend $50 and get the stupid fucking pay-per-view, and I did. And
But I heard it was good.
I ever feel great about spending $50 out of my budget. However, I'm very glad I did. I thought it was the best AEW show I've seen in a long time. And I know we're only in March, right? We've only seen Royal Rumble in January and Elimination Chamber in February. And it easily was better than those two. And those two were great, good shows, I thought. I thought those two were really fun shows. Yeah. This pay-per-view was wonderful. Like, it was best. It was great from start to finish, I thought, so far this year. Sure, Mania was whatever, but
we don't want to do the spoilers, obviously, but I have to thank Craig for telling me to go watch the Bryan Danielson interview after, talking about how I couldn't feel my body, and MJF told me that I was not going to be able to play with my kids when this was done, and it all went through me when it was happening, and I just need to go home. And I was like, I'm not doing it any justice. Incredibly powerful
if you have
moment.
to watch the pay-per-view, and at this point you don't want it spoiled because you think you're going to watch it, I'm not going to be a dickhole and announce the winners, but you could easily go watch. I mean, you watch the media scrums, you know who wins, but MJF's media thing was fantastic, and so was Daniel Bryan's like pre-tape promo was really, really good. And I can easily say that there's not a ton of them to base this on, but we've seen more than a handful. I would say this is the best Iron Man match I've ever seen in my wrestling fandom.
Really?
Easily, not even close. Brett and Sean, not even fucking close. Not even close.
Wow.
I don't ever want to hear that either, because Brett and Sean was boring. And nobody wants to hear that.
It was.
There, Craig took a nap.
So,
during
Craig
it.
took a nap during the match. Yeah, you guys were
It was
there
just-
live in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, we were there live for WrestleMania 12.
Well, we
It
saw
just
Brett
wasn't-
Nolan and took our drama teacher, and our drama teacher fell asleep.
That was an Iron Man, wasn't it? An hour? It was. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
it
an
was
Iron
an
Man.
hour. And then they had to wrestle like a sudden death after too.
Yeah, Mania
Like,
12.
good
Yeah.
God,
So I mean,
how much longer could this match possibly be?
this Iron Man match had the Iron Man time limit. There was falls that happened in between, which was awesome because I get what they were trying to do with Shawn and Brett, but it just fucking didn't work out, right? Like
Yeah.
to have no falls going in, whatever, man. But they did have falls in here. They had one of the most genius spots in here. It's not genius, it's duh. But like we've been thinking it for a long time. But MJF, and it's not going to give away the ending here, but MJF fucking low blows Daniel Bryan right in front of the referee. So the ref's like, "Oh, you're disqualified." So Daniel Bryan wins the fall, and then MJF pins him right after that because he hit him in the dick. And then so the ref gave him that fall, and then he rolled on top of him again and pinned him again. And I was like, that is the most genius fucking thing I've ever seen. And then he went for a third time, and Daniel Bryan kicked out right before 3. So I think he evened it because Daniel Bryan pinned him clean to win the first fall. Then Daniel
Sure.
Bryan, I think Daniel Bryan won by DQ because he gave up a fall. So now it was 2-0. But then he rolls Daniel Bryan up 1, 2, 3. Now it's 2-1. Rolled him up again. Now it's 2-2. Daniel Bryan kicked, and now they're tied again. And it was just awesome. Like it was just a great fucking match. It was just really beautiful. And I'm sure Daniel Bryan had a ton of input. And anybody who thinks MJF can't wrestle, you're stupid. And he's fooling all of you if that's what you think. Because that's his whole game, is to fool you and piss you off and make you think he's not good. That's why you hate him and you want to see him get beat. He's doing it in the age of social media where everything's given away, and he makes sure. Even Conrad Thompson on his podcast, like, now that MJF, he's not even a good person. I don't like that guy. Fuck that guy. And then everyone's like,
Wow.
what? I'm like, oh, whatever. Like, whatever. Like
He's taking it.
with him. He's got everyone on level with him going, I need to 2023 heal this because I can't get away. Nobody can get away with anything with social media. Everybody's got a camera in their pocket. Like, and so MJF.
I heard he dumped a drink on a kid. He dumped a
He
drink
spilled
on a
it.
kid.
And I don't know like if this was true or not, right? But people say that the mom was drinking like watered down tequila, and that's what he threw on the kid, which is even better.
It's hilarious.
It was
I'm sorry.
better.
It's funny. It's funny as fuck.
He
I'm sorry.
popped out into the crowd, and the kid was booing him, and the kid was like 7, maybe. Somewhere around that. And then he grabbed. The mom had a drink in her hand. He looked at her and he grabbed the drink from her and threw it right in the fucking kid's face. And I laughed for at least 5 minutes. They were fighting in the crowd, and I was still controlling my tears, like from him doing that. Now he got in a lot of trouble, like in the back, because in today's society, you can't do stuff like that apparently. But they let the kid backstage.
Yeah, they took care of the kid, I heard, which is
If
that's what you do.
Gonna let your 7-year-old watch a curb stomp on brick, and then let your 7-year-old watch Moxley take a fork.
You should be
Hangman's
happy that you
head,
became
then-
part of the show.
Then you're fine if someone throws it.
By
And he
the
didn't
way,
even throw the drink right at his eye. He like threw it kind of at his body. Like, you're a bad mother. Fuck
They
you.
do that if the mom's drinking alcohol. I hope she wasn't. The kid's right home to the event. Why don't we just say that? So no one wants to focus on that. But then because MJF fucking saved the kid's life, by the way, by possible car
It's
accident.
so funny how you flipped the script.
Like, it's like, yeah, I just think that people
And
need
I'm
to
took
sure
the alcohol
MJF had
away
a
from her.
moment like backstage or has reached out. Like he's not he knows what he's doing 24/7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's doing it because he knows he's under scrutiny all the time for it. So he's like, if I'm really just a dick constantly, unless I'm just with my actual family or whatever, then like, yeah, he's
It's just like it was 3 weeks ago when he was getting an elevator and he pushed fans away. Like,
Yeah.
no one's getting in this elevator but me. Fuck all of you. And this lady's like, is that how he treats his fans? I'm like, yes. Yes.
MJF knew it enough not to throw it in the face. He actually threw it downwards towards like the kid's body.
I believe you're right. Yeah,
Grow
yeah.
up. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's totally
Threw it
fine.
on the kid.
Hilarious.
The way he
It's
angled
I
hilarious.
it.
mean, again, I hate to keep going back to
Hilarious.
Bailey, but Bailey tore a kid's sign like a month ago, and that kid was bawling, and it was like,
And they
I
let him
That's
love
their job. That's why you're supposed to hate them. They want you to hate them.
Yeah, it was like the whole point. Like she took it was like a Becky sign and just took it, grabbed and
This
threw it.
whole
great.
thing of I'm not gonna say the word, but like of everything can't be all copacetic and everything happy all the time. I'm not gonna say the word woke or whatever, but like I just did. But like you have to have some force of good versus evil in stories and things that aren't nice. And if a heel has to throw something on a child to continue his story of being heel, so you hate him, that's what has to happen. Nobody can have everything nice happen to them 100% of the time, and especially when it's entertainment.
Let's just let the fans throw batteries again too. Batteries and Chaw.
What?
Let the fans just throw batteries and Chaw again. They'll be fine.
Kevin Nash at an MTV event, he'll jump off the stage, chase you like a fucking 7-foot gazelle. Remember that clip? He jumped off the stage. He's got bad knees. That motherfucker jumped off the stage and chased that man down in the crowd and fucking tackled him.
Was that a Hog Wild? When did he do it?
Huh?
What was it? Was it Hog Wild or Nitro?
TV event. Him and Hall were there for MTV Spring Break or something. So they were doing something on a stage.
Right. That's right.
And the crowd someone threw a fucking battery, and Nash was like, and jumped off the fucking stage and chased him down. The crowd parted like, this motherfucker did it, Nash. Like, and Nash gets on him and starts. He jumps in, and Nash is like, I chased that motherfucker down. I was like,
did it hit
like,
him? I can't recall. Did it hit Kevin Nash or no?
I think it did. I think, and Kevin Nash deflected it or something, but it hit him, and then he was like, "Oh fuck, no!" Like, because he knew right there, he's like, "Security's not going to catch that fucking cocksucker. I'm going to chase him. I'm going to chase this motherfucker." That's crazy.
Just a different world back then, man. What a different time. Wow.
Imagine a 7-foot, 300-pound Kevin Nash running after you. I'd be like, "Oh, I would just curl up and die."
I still recall. I think I saw it on Instagram. They were talking about all the fans that would run in during Nitro on a regular basis, and they would more than that. Who was that? Who was that little referee with the mustache? He would put them in a front face lock and murder them like at the time. He's like 130 pounds wet, dude. He's just like grabbing him and like just reaching him up. I'm like,
there was one. I think he died of cancer.
I think it was him. Yeah.
He actually was a trained wrestler. He wanted to be a professional wrestler. He was never big enough, and then he got sick. So he was always like super skinny. So like everybody loved him in the back. Everybody did. But he was a trained wrestler, so he whipped the shit out of people. Like when they come in, he'd just be like, "Oh, really? You want to fucking do this? It's great." Macho Man and Hall would Hall would pick his shots. He would just come over and be like, I'm gonna work punch him, but I'm gonna fucking lay it in like all the time. Macho Man would just come up and try to punch him in the face like all the time. Every time Savage saw a fan, he's like, "Yep," and he just would fucking run over.
I swear it was always the NWO, purely Macho Man most of the time, and it was always that one ref, and I can't recall his name in WCW. It was he had the mullet, curly hair, and the mustache, and he was really small, but he would destroy. Who?
I think it's Mark Curtis, if I'm thinking of it right.
Yeah, that's who it was. And he would just wreck people. I had no idea how many times that dude like just put people on their back. I was like, that's amazing.
Choking them the second they got in the ring. He's like fuck, like stuck to him. Like,
so funny. Oh man, yeah. I had a blast watching that.
So too, from that pay-per-view, I know a lot of people are giving AEW shit for blood and stuff, but I'm like, whatever. Blood doesn't bother me. Craig would have loved this match. Hangman Adam Page and John Moxley was fantastic. I mean, it was holy shit. Like, it was Mick Foley level easily. Like, and that's high praise. And like, it was.
I think what people are trying to say though is like I think you guys alluded to too. Moxley like bleeds every week, and like, dude, just stop.
I think it's overkill, but I just put it in a bubble in this match. Moxley pulled a fucking out and stabbed Adam Page several times in the face, and I'm like, holy shit, like, it was awesome. They were gimmicking it somehow, I don't know, but it looked fantastic. Everything they did, like pile driver on a fucking chair with barbed wire wrapped around it, like shit on the outside, like it was just wonderful. The crowd, they brought in 2 bricks, not cinder blocks, but like bricks, like the pink ones or tan ones, and they did some amazing shit on that. Like on these, they would stand them up and do shit on them. It was crazy. It'd stand them up on chairs and it was fucking amazing. Like, yeah, it was wonderful. I don't care what anybody says, then don't watch it then if you don't like it. But it was
the text that I remember from you and Joe, Jess, is, okay, Joe, check this out. The Trios match is going to steal the show. And then it was like, I don't know how they're going to top that. And then Hangman and Mox were like, I don't know how that's going to be topped. And then the MJF match were like, I don't know how they topped Hangman and Mox. So like this progression of topping matches, which you were like, I thought they stole the show, like led the way, it seemed like on your text message.
House of Black against the Elite. House of Black won the Trios title. I'm going to give that ending away because the ending sequence that was fucking amazing. Like it was the knees that they were laying in, they were all worked, but they looked fucking amazing. And they did this crazy like triple knee sequence towards the end. And I was like, oh my God, like I'd never seen anything like it. I mean, all the trios matches are good for the most part, especially when the elite's involved, but holy shit, like every time Aleister Black, I know his name's something different in Malachi Black or something.
yeah.
Hey,
Yeah,
Malachi,
yeah.
I don't even know his name in AEW. He's Aleister Black to me.
Selena's
Every
boyfriend.
him and Omega faced off, people were like, every time him and Omega faced off, the crowd got on their feet, and when they interacted, like people were chanting "Holy shit!" and like not deserving holy shit. Yeah, but
he's incredibly talented. I
people
mean,
wanted to see Black and Omega, like, and it was crazy. Like, and everything was good. Everything was good in that match. And yeah, after that, Joe was like, "Oh man, like yeah, it did steal the show." And yeah, and then after when Moxley then came on, I'm like, "Oh my God!" Like, oh my God.
The only thing that's really disappointing is that in Joe's experience, he benefited from it. He got a ticket 6 rows back with hours before the show starts, and I'm a little concerned about the lack of publicity that it's getting. You know, I know there's always seats left at WWE events. I get that, but they're not 6 rows back. I mean, and he got a great deal on it too.
He said, like this place wasn't full. I'm gonna be honest, and I was like, God, that's disappointing, man. It's like
It
their
really
big
is.
like,
Yeah.
He's like, but he's like, dude, this show was amazing, and I was like, yeah, like this is it seems like they returned to form with this show because they've been struggling since the whole Punk thing, and they've just been trying to find their way again. But this show, I was like, oh my God, like this show was great. Like there was some matches and stuff like that, but there's always going to be matches. But I would say for the most part, I did not see a terrible match on the card. Not like where I was like, that sucked, like at all. There was no match that sucked. Some of them I was like, I mean, it had to be that way, or whatever. But like, it was never like, oh, that match was just fucking trash, like, or anything like that. So, which is surprising because lately, AEW's they've been putting on some trash. Like, to be honest, like some matches, I'm like, what are you doing? What are we doing here? But totally worth watching. Totally worth going back and checking it out. Like it was awesome. The Iron Man match, like I said, best Iron Man match I've seen on American soil, easily, no question. They figured it out before I knew it. I remember just going fast. And I looked at the timer and I was like, "We're half an hour in." I didn't even realize we were half an hour in. That's how awesome it was.
What's the replay run? I mean, I have no idea. They cut it in half or what?
It's the same fucking price. Yeah.
I don't get that. If it's not live anymore, cut it in half. You probably get a lot of people that would pick it up after the fact.
I agree with, especially because they only do 4 pay-per-views a year. I don't know why you wouldn't cut it down by 25%, 30%.
Yeah. I think you're right. If you even took it down 25%, you get a lot. You get people here. Oh, it's good. I'll if you take money off a little bit off, I'll watch it. I'll buy it.
And then real quick, I know we're running a little long here. Jay, son of a bitch, finally turned on Sammy. The Usos are back together. The storyline has come full circle, and now it pretty much looks like it's going to be Kevin Owens and Sammy against the Usos for the Undisputed Tag Titles, which should be awesome at WrestleMania. It should be a great match.
We all knew it was coming, and we're not mad about it at all. It's what it is. It's what it's supposed to be. Yeah, great story told over a long period of time. Fantastic. It's all coming together.
So, I know we're running a little bit long here, and Greg is angry at GarageBand right now. And if I could have that's right now, they would have a death match, and Forks would be involved, and Bricks. But alas,
I would curb stomp GarageBand for sure.
That happened on the Bricks, by the way. Curb stomped it, and the place lost their absolute ever-loving shit.
All right. Well, that's unscripted.
All right. I like that ending better than mine. I just go fuck yourself. All right, so that's a lot.
Stop.
Dave's like,
I'll still send you this. I don't know if you want to use it.